There are many aspects of Fortnite that determine how a player does in their game. Many people argue RNG is to blame for lots of things, but players do control more than enough to be in control of their own success. The first decision a player makes in a Fortnite game is where to land. Based on bus routes and points of interest, or POIs, the perfect drop is in players' hands. Every player has a different preference and playstyle, which is reflected in the way they drop. Passive players like to go far from the bus for a slower paced game, while other players strive for a lively early game. These exciting early games are a high risk, high reward drop and often take place at hot drop locations. A hot drop is an area where a high volume of players land. The goal of a hot drop is to play for kills and leave with the best loot. These hot drop locations vary based on a few factors. The first variable in hot drops is the bus route. While some POIs will always be considered hot drops, it is important to watch where the bus starts. If the bus route starts by Lucky landing, there's a high chance that Lucky will be a hot drop since it is the first POI the bus passes. Fatal Fields would also be considered a hot drop because it is on the bus path in the second POI. Another variable in hot drops is location. For example, if the bus starts over Junk Junction, it would not be considered a hot drop because that POI isn't too popular. More players would go to Haunted Hills or Pleasant Park since they are larger and have a greater chance to get better loot. This is also the case for POIs like Tilted Towers. No matter where the bus is, there will always be a high volume of players in Tilted. The large city can hold enormous amounts of loot and it's very attractive to players in every game. Places like Salty Springs and Retail Road will also have a high volume of players for this reason, as well as their location near the middle of the map. Landing hot drops takes time to perfect. Sure, players can land at Tilted and do well, but to do that consistently, understanding is key. Landing hot drops means there's always going to be people, and knowing the area will help a ton. Finding a general spot to land at and rotating a certain way will help to establish a system. A system not only helps to keep order in the chaos, but allows the players to fine-tune that route. Knowing where to get mats and ammo along the way will help greatly in the quest to win a hot drop. Once a player gets their system down, it allows them to not only feel calm, but confident in that area as well. Having the confidence to rush and play aggressively in a hot drop is risky, but usually necessary. Eliminating opponents fast will increase survival rate and loot drops, giving you better loot over the next enemy. The hardest call to make when landing a hot drop is where to land. The process starts with jumping out of the bus. Players have to jump early enough to get good height so they can be first to the ground. Landing first will ensure you get a gun before anyone else, giving you the upper hand. However, height will not always be on your side, so watching your surroundings becomes important. Landing last on the best house is not nearly as good as being first to a decent house. Landing a little bit further from the fight will allow the player to attain a weapon more easily. Outskirts of an area can be useful for looting as well as farming. The player will get fewer kills, but will be better equipped to fight with material, guns, and health. Prioritizing what you want to do once you drop is another big task. Once the player lands and finds a gun, the next steps are always situational. Players who land alone should loot their house, find a shotgun, and get some mats. When enemies are nearby, looting up and getting ready to fight can save you from being ambushed. However, the scenario is always different depending on where the player is in relation to their enemy. If a player lands at the same house as an enemy, the priorities of the player now change. Instead of running around looking for better guns and mats, eliminating the enemy takes priority. If the player gives the enemy too much time to establish themselves in the house, they may not make it out of that house alive. Dropping too high and being forced to land further away could mean very little loot for that player. In this instance, material count and killing opponents will be less important since the player needs more loot. All instances are different and require different approaches, but learning when to act and when to sit back is the key for players to improve at managing these situations. That's all for this video, but please comment, like, and subscribe for more sports and esports news and updates. Be sure to click the bell so you don't miss any more videos on the Game House. From our house to yours.